Second, reducing the amount of credits earned by band students from 7 to 5 does not add up. Year-long classes meeting for 80 minutes 2 to 3 times a week earn 5 credits. In addition to that scheduled class time, students who are enrolled in band also commit to coordinating individual lessons, convening 2 weeks prior to the start of school year to learn marching band routines, which they then perform at all Lyndhurst High School football games, represent the high school in town events, including Memorial Day, Halloween, and Little League parades, as well as 9/11 and Veterans Day ceremonies. In addition, they perform their collaborations in holiday and spring concerts to a packed gymnasium. These commitments are all mandatory and all graded. Their efforts go above and beyond the 8-minute class requirements and justify the additional 2 credits. Third, jazz band moving from lunch sessions to a scheduled block creates unnecessary scheduling conflicts with other electives and graduation requirements. The select students that qualify for jazz band commit to use part of their lunchtime 3 days a week to learn the subject matter. Trying to schedule it into the regular school day as a formal class forces these students to either miss out on this advanced opportunity or lose the opportunity to take another class that they may be interested in. It is not likely that the whole jazz band will be able to fit this class into their schedule, which will jeopardize the integrity of the group's work. Fourth, honors band appears to have been removed from the available courses. This is a master course for students who demonstrate excellence in their instrument and show interest in a future career in music. A rising senior attempted to add this class and it was not an available offering. Our Fine Arts Department of Music and Band are wonderful programs that demonstrate dedication, creativity, talent, and commitment. They build self-esteem, promote discipline, leadership, and collaboration. They are strong programs that enhance Lyndhurst High School education. They are well recognized and praised by our township, its residents, and our surrounding communities. The program has been effectively executed for over 30 years. Why are we attempting to alter a program which is successful in its current state when we have so many other concerns to concentrate on right now? Thank you. I totally agree with you, but I totally understood when you said, as a mother, your responsibility to your children. I am so passionate about supporting them.
And I've known you as a mom in the district for many years now. And I admire what you shared, what you presented on behalf of the students. And I want to address a few items. I also don't want to say that this isn't a conversation in a few directions that can continue. I have done my best in making sure that while certain things were put in place, there is certainly leeway with a new superintendent coming in to make other suggestions. But I want to point out a few things to you that I would not expect you to understand. I wouldn't even expect the board to understand. And that is what's happening as of July 1st from New Jersey Department of Education. So you all know QSAC, right? Equality Single Accountability Consortium, or Continuum rather. That has changed in order to emphasize and to promote exactly what you so intelligently stand here and say tonight. Visual and performing arts are necessary, and we have to inspire more students to participate in them. So, and what has that fed into? We now have certain certification requirements, right? So you're going to see now that in grades 6 through 12, we have a legal responsibility to offer dance to students at some point, right? I think there's about 6 or 8 certified dance teachers that can do this, but among our districts, we're going to find them. But the other piece also is when the high schools are now ranked, they're actually looking at the number of students participating in visual and performing arts as a measure for the best high schools. So we certainly are looking to do what we can to incorporate more students into the programs. And therein lies the trouble. Because we have found that students who potentially could benefit most from music instruction and who might find their academic performance becoming better if they're inspired to try out an instrument or try, some chorus classes, etc. With the setup in the way it is now, we can't do that because the idea that many students, which is wonderful that we have this many students, we then are limited to what we can provide to them in those 3 other blocks that day or the blocks on the next day. So right now, given our schedule configuration, which is being looked at, and that has been looked at, and it is our hope that, or it is my hope that this work will continue, and we can potentially start looking at blocks of shorter amounts of time, but allowing another block in each day to give students more of an opportunity to satisfy this. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have that in place. We don't have that structure set. And a lot of that is drawn by the contract. So the next negotiations, this is something that could potentially be discussed with the association, right? So that being said, the best we can do right now is to offer bands in these multiple sections in order to make sure that students across the board have the opportunity to take it, and we're not basically having a high percentage of the students eliminated from anything else that's going on at that time. And I know that's...
Now it's contradictory to me because we already have over 100 kids that are participating.
Exactly. So those 100 students
that are not going to be able to perform together in one assigned class.
Let's just understand this. While those, and you're the one pointing it out, you're absolutely, while those 100 students are doing their band instruction, we're limited to offering classes that portions of those students are going to need during that time. So now, what are we looking at? We're looking at higher numbers in classes, which we're looking to reduce class size. And we're looking at students having more and more needs on both ends of the spectrum. We're seeing students doing incredible work. We're trying to increase the number of AP offerings, but when we have students who can't consider an AP class because it's offered at the same time as band, or on the other side of that, consider a smaller English or math class where they might succeed because that's the time slot it is, we have kids faced with tough challenges. I will tell you that there was a tremendous amount of research, and there were 7 other like high schools that were looked at.
Can I know which high schools they were?
I don't have the backup. Ms. Bruno, do you recall? Yeah, I don't, because we presented it to Ed Curriculum.
Because I know of 5 like high schools that don't work that way.
Was it ever presented to Ed Curriculum?
It was never presented. It was presented, as Bruno presented to Ed Curriculum.
My committee is here.
Or Joe DeCorso did.
I'm sorry, can you speak into the mic? Ms. Alfieri, I'm sorry, can you speak into the mic?
It was never presented to Ed Curriculum. I have all my members here. Ms. Malinak, was it presented?
Joe DeCorso has been your director of curriculum for this year only. He sat there and he presented on this topic and presented the research that was given. Now, that happened. We'll go back. But again, like I said, clearly, I'm not ending the conversation. Right? It can be handed over to someone else and they can revisit it, and if that person wants to make a change, they can. What I'm going to sit here and say to you is that I hear you and I understand what is wanted. What I would love is to have a facility whereby we could actually have every level of our sports teams practicing together, doing the same drills. rocking it on the fields and the courts, but we can't do that. On another matter, with regard to the credits, those students, when they're taking their instrumental lessons, they're being removed from the classes where they're getting the full 5 credits for. And we have a beautiful system. Mr. DeLuza is fantastic in creating that rotating schedule so it's not always the same class. But the truth is, they're earning their credits full 5 in the other classes from which they're being removed.
Because they are responsible for making up any missed work or project.
Absolutely. With regard to the other components, we never want to micromanage what a teacher feels is necessary to promote the growth of students. And for that reason, I would never infringe upon Mr. DeLuza's ability to use those other performance requirements as part of their grade, if that's the way of having students there. And I respect that. My understanding, though, is that there's also service points that they're earning for serving the community in those ways, for being there, for being in the parades, etc. So in the end, this is a course, just like other courses that have other requirements. You have an AP course, they're not,
Their AP courses they get to earn college credit, that's their gift, that's their benefit.
Only if they do what they need to do on the test, it becomes an assessment.
Exactly. But that's why they do it, because they want to earn the extra college credit. So they do get it.
Yeah. If they do, they do, and if not, they're getting their 5 and they're moving on. But I think that it's about service and getting that experience of performing, of being there. The idea about the honors band, again, I'm never going to sit and tell a program director how things should go. What I think we were requesting was that there was some criteria for who actually earns honors band credit and who does not. And on the flip side, we've had situations that we couldn't answer that question as to why certain people were getting, during their band time, honors bands credit and others were not. So for me, I would just say once that criteria is established and we have a strong sense of what makes someone be sitting in band and be getting honors and another student sitting there for that same time not, it may be the work level, it may be the performance level, granted, but we need to have it codified. It needs to be determined as to what it is that honors band students are being required to do in order to earn those credits. And again, I'm not going to be here, but that would be something that I think if that were ever presented and identified, then in fact we have a strong reason for identifying the honors level.
And jazz band?
And jazz band at lunch, I'm not really, I have to deflect to the high school principal on that. I'm not here. I know what lunchtime is like in a high school when you have a unit lunch. When you have all the students at lunch, I do know what that's like. I do know that you did send a communication to Principal Luno. I was just copied on it. I'm not, wasn't looking to respond. But I hope that conversation can continue and more can be given to you in addition to the lengthy email that was provided. Okay?
Mrs. Almeida, your presentation was excellent. Very concise, very precise. Well done. I don't even know what you're talking about, to tell you the truth. Okay? I'm not all that familiar with the nuances of what takes place with the band program, nor probably many of the board members. I think that what you're discussing and the points the points are very well spoken. I'm going to suggest that the situation, we refer to our curriculum committee, which is chaired by Mrs. Upjoy. Our curriculum committee, and I'm also going to suggest to other board members, this is up to you, that we put a hold on any changes until that's my suggestion.
Are you making a motion on this?
If my board members would like me to, I certainly can.
I would like you to make a motion, I would like to say.
Okay.
I just want to get a little bit of legal advisement. In this position, is this something that requires board resolution, what are we?
As chief of administrative, you are available.
Correct. So I go back to my original statement. The person who will sit in this chair has the authority to take on a conversation with you, look over whatever he chooses to look over. I know the research that was done and the research that was shared. A lot has happened since then, but this is not a topic that the board votes on. This is a topic that the superintendent, along with the administrative team, makes decisions on. So for that reason, and in support of Mr. Apostolo's suggestion, that is where this conversation, to my point earlier, should continue. Because I think it's important that, he sees every component that is encircling this. And again, we can't disclose the instructional needs of students on any end of the spectrum, but particularly those with our special ed. And that would be important for him to look at as he looks at all of this.
Excuse me,
Okay?
point of order, once it's a motion is second, you need to vote unless you change your mind from the floor. Point of order. There was a first and a second.
It would be proper for Mr. Apostol to withdraw the motion because it's not a motion that the board can say vote on. The motion should be withdrawn because the motion is not on a matter that's in the board's realm of authority.
They made a motion second, did they withdraw the motion?
She's our legal advisor, and she just recommended that it be withdrawn because it's not in our legal realm to do that. The lawyer said they don't have to do that.
Mr. Apostol, are you withdrawing the motion or is it on the table?
Our attorney stating that we need to withdraw the motion, I agree. However, and I do withdraw the motion. Actually, I never made a motion. I never did. Okay. However, I am going to say again, there's 2 weeks left of the current, today's only 18, folks. There's still 2 full weeks left of this month. I am not seeing a reason why the curriculum committee can't convene to discuss this prior to the end of this month.
Respectfully, the Ed Curriculum Committee can indeed convene. This falls under the authority of the Chief Educational Leader. And I feel confident that I have done all of the work necessary for this to have been moved. And it is within my authority. However, July 1, the new superintendent can certainly come in and undo whatever is in place. But it is not a matter that requires board approval. The way we're running and serving our students is not something that is determined and is part of our daily operations by a board resolution. So again, should the conversation continue, and do I encourage that? Absolutely. But with regard to the next 12 days, it's not going to have any effect. What I will say is that I think we need to understand the fact that we start scheduling students in February for the next school year. So I do want it to be fully understood that if this were revisited, that is going to be something that that is going to have to also take place, because it will affect every schedule in Lyndhurst High School completely. Okay, but again, after July 1, the conversation continue. It's the person who sits in this chair that can overturn that.
I ask any of the other board members have any opinion about this? Or are we staying quiet?
They should take a look at other findings again if they want to.
Honestly,
I don't think we fully understand the impact of what Sean is saying. I think once the board does, and once the new superintendent does come in, and we understand what the impact is to all the other students, then I think you can make a better judgment.
And I assure you, Mr. DeCorso has all of this information. Mr. DeCorso sat at the table and talked on this matter. He will definitely do the same to the Ed Curriculum Committee, and I will ensure that he has everything, which I know he does. He was the one who led it along with Principal Bruno. And again, the conversation can be had, but it will be the superintendent's decision. It does not require a board motion.
Please consult the news department as well.
And I must say that while I am disappointed in the fact that this was not shared by the appropriate people to the band parents, to the students, right? I think that was definitely a place that had fallen short. The appropriate people should have shared this with both the students to give them rationale as well as the band parents. I will tell you that you're absolutely right. There should be some conferring. However, Mr. DeCorso, as not only Director of Curriculum and Instruction, but Supervisor of Fine and Performing Arts, assured us in his presentation that he explained and sat many times with the band department to explain some of the challenges we were facing and to share this with them. So this is not something that was not known prior to us scheduling in winter. This was shared and known. The failure was it not being communicated to you. And that indeed needs to be communicated responsibly, as well as to the students, because they are of the age where they are deserving of the rationality, understanding, and the opportunity to ask
I
questions.
want to be clear that it was communicated, there were rumblings and rumors about it, but we all did not believe that it could actually come to fruition because we didn't think it made sense as seeing these kids perform and seeing these kids interact. We didn't really think it would go through with that because it doesn't work for the program.
So, and again, you're looking through one lens, we're looking through another, right? And I think that we can mutually agree on that, which is why I look forward to this conversation continuing. I encourage parents, encourage you, when you hear chatter, when you hear rumblings, when you hear the potential, and you are as educated and involved as you are, set up an appointment to meet with the counselor, with the administrator, with someone. Come to a board meeting and speak on it. This is what we're hearing. These are our concerns. So that can be addressed at a band parents meeting or a music association meeting at the right time. You deserve that. You deserve that. And we certainly should not have it be that we're in June and we have students concerned and worried and having all of these questions. They should be going off into summer, knowing their schedules next year and feeling really good about their offerings, right? Maybe not everything, but most of the things there. So I really, really encourage parents and I encourage the board to really promote that communication and to set up those meetings with your school personnel, even if it is just rumblings or chatter, and get that information firsthand so we can conquer these sooner rather than later. And again, I thank you for tonight. I thank the students for being here supporting this program. I will tell you that visual and performing arts have never been more fostered in the state of New Jersey. I think that's a testament to not only the quality of performance that you provide, but to the level of academic performance that you're doing in concert, because finally they're seeing the connections, and the connections are strong. So I look forward to seeing how this conversation continues and what the outcome is.
Can you please address the topic of the credits, please? I don't think that was finalized. What did you have about the credits going to the project?
Again, I'm going to share what I shared here, but like I said, that's not to say that after July 1, we can go to a completely different format, keep this one, or revert back. The credits were simply that the students are taking this course. It is the band instructors who are using those additional activities, those out-of-school hours activities, as part of the grade. And it is not in my purvey to tell a teacher upon which students should be assessed. That's on them. However, there is no requirement from our end that those activities need to be part of the grade. So the idea that the students are getting 2 extra credits for doing what is typically considered service to the community, marching in parades, being there so the little kids at Halloween can have fun, etc. That should be transferred to service, and they should be rewarded as such. And it's our hope that the students would not need to have that as a grade in order for them to actually attend and participate. Likewise, as far as the instructional component, they are being removed from other classes for that instruction, whereby they are making the work up granted. But they are getting the same credits in that course even when they're removed. So I share that with you now. That's what was looked at to this point. But again, I think that the conversation here is pretty moot. And I look forward to it continuing, as the education curriculum had said, on your behalf with the new superintendent, and for you following up as well.
As education and curriculum chairperson, I assure you, as being a staunch band supporter, and I am at every activity that they do, and I am at every concert, I will make sure that the ed curriculum reevaluates this. Mrs. Almeida, please give me your number, because this will take place after July 1st. Thank you.
Is there anyone on this list remaining that has anything new to add to the conversation? Yes, wait. What are your names, Joe?
Okay, good evening, my name is Jillian Burns, and I will be a junior in September. It has been brought to the attention of the schedule changes due to the ban resulting in 2 split classes. I can see from an educator's point of view that this is a good thing to allow students to give the opportunity to take other classes that may conflict with band. There was an incident this past school year where a senior could not take band due to an honors Italian class. They made it work, and the student participated as much as any other member of the band, although they could not be present in class. The band needs to all be together in one class for so many reasons. Yes, the band is just a team like any other sport. Mr. Bruno, I feel that you can account to that being a former football coach, and we need to learn to practice together just like them. I do believe that all of you can relate to when I say that. They can't practice separately because it will lead to multiple issues. We all play different instruments, and if all of the drums and all of the bass clarinets are in one class and are not in the other, we can't learn to play together and blend to have the chemistry to perform well. Band is then considered an ensemble. There will be no way for us to work as a team. The band jumps for others when the pride of Lyndhurst is asked to perform at parades, town events, and school functions. The administration at LHS made changes without consulting the people that it is going to affect. This may be the right solution in their eyes, but it is destroyed what all of us have put our life into. It takes the band time to put together a halftime routine during the football games. This can be extremely stressful at times, but it is one of the most rewarding when we hear the crowd roar with happiness after we perform. Band is not just another elective that students take. Band turns into a lifestyle that we love. Band students give up most of our spare time to be part.
Before I speak, I want to point out I did send an email to 3 of our principal, our vice principal, and our dean of students, and we got our counselors to call us down, but we got no reply from them, so yes, I did address the school. I want to say, before I start, let me tell you what band means to us. I do have a lot of students here, and the whole band, and this is what they answered. Band is our hope, band is our family, band is a place where we feel at home. Band is where we learn love, and music can take us far. Band for me has been a place where I have a shoulder to cry on, because I have a family. Band is where we learn hard work pays off. LHS Band has always been proud to support our town in parades and half times. But you can't expect hard work if you break it in half. It's not a well-oiled machine. How do you expect band to work when we break it in half? It will take a toll on how we play in events that we take so much pride in. I would also like to talk about honors bands. Honors band is all break it down for you. Honors bands is kids that play an extremely well level, higher than average. It allows students to go do outside of school work. I know some of them go to the Rutherford bands. They do Bergen County bands, all state bands, and they have to take outside lessons out of their own money, and they work together, and they do all these things outside of school that I don't do, and I'm not honors bands. Another point is jazz bands. We were not told till like a week ago that jazz band was going to be moved out of lunch. Jazz band and lunch is so much better because it doesn't make any schedule conflicts. It doesn't mess up with my requirements or my friends' requirements to be in that class. And, let's see. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. And the credits, I understand your point of how to get community service hours. But, I mean, I do so much, I'm in English, and I even love English, by the way. But I do so much more in band, and so many more hours in band than English, and it's like, an incentive to keep pushing us and making us work better. And we have a lot of concerns in the band that actually are athletes and do both. This, I also want to point out, Mr. DeMarco, when you were a principal, this is exactly how band ran, and many years before this as well. Band is my family. I know. I want to end up by saying Lyndhurst is my home, but band is my family. Town events where we get my pride is more in town events and marching band games, and that the town says we're proud of us, not just the school district, the town. With all due respect, I hope you realize the consequences these decisions will cause to the pride of Lyndhurst. I don't think people in this town would like to see the band dissolved because of a few minor schedule changes. On behalf of the band students, we ask for your assistance to fix what has now been broken to us. Thank you.
Okay. I have had a child in band since 1984, and I know how important it is for you all to be together. I watched the Lyndhurst marching band go from 12 people to this huge successful lawyer. And please rest assured that we will look into this more fully. Thank you.
Can I add that, I'm sorry. Can I add that in the curriculum it is that marching band is required to be in the part adding up the 2 credits. So at that point, that would give the extensive people from 12 to 100. And I hope that we can actually, it's just a minor schedule change. That's really all we ask. And I would propose 0 period if it is possible. And if we could do something like that, just to keep everything in order.
Last thing, there was last year, we only had 1 student that couldn't get band into their schedule, and it worked out phenomenal for them, and they were actually our drum agents who did a great job.
Alyssa Saccone. Am I reading? Elaine Stella.
Told you I've been out for a while, so I gotta catch up. I'm sorry about this. The 3.1 million. Did you get a list exactly what was short that came up to that number? Do you all have that list? And is it?
Elaine, do me a favor, just 1 second before you start. You girls, be proud of yourselves, what you just did.